Well, it's taken us 9 months, but here we are, a stalemate that has finally closed and ended as far as the US-India bilateral trade agreement is concerned. The BTA is still way off. What we do have is a reciprocal tariff framework. I'm joined by the FICCI top brass, President Anant Goenka, Senior Vice President Vijay Shankar, Vice President Puneet Dalmia, former FICCI President Shubhrikant Panda, also with us. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on the program. Anant, to you, we've been waiting for this overnight. President Trump surprising us with the announcement. A big overhang put behind us, at least for now, even as we await the fine print. What does it mean for industry and for business?
Absolutely. We are very optimistic about this. It's something that an uncertainty that has gone away. The benefits really is on the psychology that the uncertainty in general is never welcome. So to that extent, we now have clarity. The second benefit is a lot on the rupee, now strengthening, which has been weakening for some time. And the big benefit to certain key sectors that were getting affected, which are employment linked. So certainly it will bring about a lot more employment and big relief to critical sectors of textiles, apparels, and others.
Yes, a big relief to a lot of those exporting sectors that were hit quite badly, including sectors like gems and jewelry. Vijay, let me come to you now. And, we heard from the chief economic advisor. This was one of the factors he had said that could propel growth higher. And he believes that with this tariff overhang out of the way, we could be looking at a 7.4% number as well. On balance, even as we wait for the details to be operationalized and the tariff rates to kick in, what does this now also mean for India looking at the US as a market?
Irene, as we all know, the US is the biggest market globally, is the biggest consumer globally, and certainly the biggest market for Indian goods, for Indian merchandise goods and services. And I think this is the one remaining big overhang on the Indian economy over the last few months. And now that once this is lifted, I think the sky is the limit. I certainly see an upside to this growth projection. And I think it's up to India Inc. to take advantage and work with the government to ensure that this growth indeed materializes.
Yes, while we await the details, Puneet Dalmia, many claims that President Trump is making, whether it is India committing to saying no to Russian oil or that $500 billion number that he's spoken of that India will purchase from the U.S. made in America goods. But Puneet, while we wait for those claims to be responded to, and we haven't had a response yet, the biggest beneficiaries outside of the sectors that were impacted the most, the export-oriented sectors, what do you really believe this could mean in the medium to long term?
I think this is a defining moment for India in many ways. We just started with a large deal with the EU, and it was termed as the mother of all deals. And back to back, we have a great deal with the US. So I think the good thing for India is that we are diversifying our markets. We are participating in equal terms with the big economies of the world, and we have a seat at the global high table of geopolitics. And also, I think we are doing transactions with large democracies of the world with shared values, which will create more sustainable long-term relationships. So I think it's a defining moment for India in many ways. Large transactions, very defining opportunities for Indian exporters, and also I think sustainable deals. So it's not done in a hurry, but it's done with a lot of thought, a lot of detailing, and I think there was a lot of discussion when it will happen. But I think a lot of work has gone behind the scenes. So my big compliments to all the people in the government and the bureaucracy to ensure that we have started 2026 with a bang, and I hope that we can build on this and deliver exceptional long-term growth for exporters as well as provide opportunities to Indian consumers.
Yes, those opportunities are something that we need to focus on. But Shubhrikant, coming to you, now, as this deal gets operationalized, what is going to be crucial is that what goods come into the zero tariff category, as President Trump has claimed. We need to wait to understand what the fine print looks like. But, if India has had to give some concessions, do you believe that in the long term, it all adds up because you now get this big overhang out of the way?
So, Shireen, this is a point I have been making in a variety of contexts over the last couple of weeks, which is that free trade agreements and deals such as these are give and take. It would be wonderful to get everything that we wanted without conceding anything, but that's not how it works. So one will have to wait for the fine print to see what is included, what all is covered under zero tariffs, and all of that. But there is no doubting the importance of this because, as Vijay mentioned, the US is the biggest consuming market in the world and our largest trading partner with $130 billion plus worth of goods, merchandise goods trade. And if you add services to it, then in excess of $210 billion. So this is very significant. And I think what is worth highlighting here is not just the 18% number in itself, which is, of course, a big relief from the punitive tariffs of 50%. But the fact that we have a leg up on competing economies. So barring, I think, South Korea, which has a slightly lower rate, and that also is in a little bit of a limbo at the moment. But compared to other competing nations, we certainly are at an advantage of between, one, yeah.
No, and you make a valid point there that, we're at 18% now, straight down from 50% earlier. But, you brought up the point about South Korea, where President Trump has changed his mind and said that you didn't give enough or you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. And so I'm sort of winding the clock. And I think that the trust issue, Shubhrikant, I mean, how much is that going to weigh now, even as far as investors are concerned, even though you do have an agreement technically on paper?
Well, I mean, I think President Trump has repeatedly referred to his rapport with Prime Minister Modi. That has certainly had a role to play in getting to this agreement. And not to mention that India is a large consuming market in itself. And if you look at the China plus one strategy, we certainly have a role to play. So, I mean, right at the beginning, let me not get into into casting doubt about what may or may not happen in the future. I think the fact that we have got to this stage and cracked the first the first level is a very significant development, and I'm extremely positive about it. And I think good things will come out of getting to where we have got late last night.
Oh, most certainly a significant development, without a doubt. The question, though, now is, as Shubhrikant was pointing out, and the chief economic advisor also telling us very clearly that in light of all of these FTAs, whether it's the US or the UK or in fact the EU, there is no choice but for Indian industry to become a far more competitive industry because, you cannot offer protection in perpetuity. Anant, how ready is industry for all of these changes? We keep asking government, how ready is government? But how ready is industry to cope with all of these changes?
We are absolutely gearing up, particularly with respect to, say, the EU FTA. We are sharing all the benefits and opportunities with our members. We are getting chambers to speak to each other, outreach to the Europeans as well as within India as to what all are the sectors that can benefit, what are the details on the fine print, and then activating some of that before the EU gets ratified. Similarly, for the US, similar kind of activities. Of course, it's something where it is a removal of duty. So I'm sure business there will start immediately in terms of taking advantage of that opportunity.
Right. Vijay and Puneet, a quick final word from you before we close. Vijay, now the next steps, what is it that you're going to be watching out for? What would you like clarity on?
I think we're all waiting for the fine print, Shireen, on this. But honestly, it's a truly historic moment. I think it's as was explained earlier, 2 large deals within 3 weeks is truly unprecedented. Our full compliments to the Commerce Ministry as well as to the Prime Minister and the rest of the team for pulling this off. I think the opportunities for Indian industry, we should not forget, Shireen, 9 months ago, we were speaking about China plus one. I think those aspects of Indian, the opportunities for Indian industry will resurface. I think we've got a huge opportunity with the US, and we're all very excited with this announcement, Shireen.
Puneet, the last word to you.
Yeah, I will just say that India is offering domestic growth as well as global opportunities. For this, we have to be globally competitive in terms of production and efficiency. And I think a lot of enablers are also being put in place, which was already outlined in this budget. We are making massive investments in physical and digital infrastructure, which will reduce the cost of logistics and also boost productivity. We are also enabling more ease of compliance and better stable tax regime. So I think a lot of these enablers, which will give predictability internally and also improve productivity and cause inclusion, are being put in place. So all in all, I think it is not just about these deals, but how to strengthen ourselves and gear ourselves up for capturing these opportunities is something that has been well thought through, and it will play out over the coming years.
Yes, it certainly will play out over the next coming years, and hopefully to our advantage. That is the hope and the aspiration. Anant Goenka, Vijay Sankar, Puneet Dalmia and Shubhrikant Panda, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us on what has been a big day for the Indian economy, a big day for the Indian stock markets, and a big day for the Indian currency market as well. We've seen gains across the board and a sigh of relief that while it may have taken 9 months, it certainly is something that hopefully is behind us. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this special edition of CNBC TV 18's broadcast. We'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We decode the whatever fine print we do have of the India-US trade deal after the break.